Hi friends, welcome to Raising Lifelong Learners. I'm your host, Colleen Kessler, and this is the podcast where I encourage you to trust yourself and your differently wired kiddos as you help cultivate their curiosity, encourage them to discover the world around them, embrace who they are wired to be, all while helping them discover their passions, interests, and raise them to become the amazing adults they're meant to be. Hey, welcome back. This is episode 276. Today we're talking all about helping your kiddos find their unique selves and encouraging them to just lean in to who they are, who they're meant to be, and what their passions are. We've talked about passion-driven learning, we've talked about strength-based learning before, but we're going to dive deeper into a couple practical ways that we can do this in our homeschool. And I hope this episode's encouraging for you. There's lots of different things to pull from it, and I'd love to hear what your favorite part was. Before we get started, I just want to say a quick special thank you to CTC Math. They're always such generous sponsors, and we really appreciate their support. And if you need a math curriculum, you truly could not do better. ctcmath.com is the place to be. Go check it out. Okay, pop those earbuds in, go for a walk, snuggle in, take a break, hide with the hidden chocolate in the cupboard, whatever you need to do. But let's get on with today's episode. Hey there, welcome back. Today we are talking all about embracing the wonder within, helping our kiddos celebrate who they are and follow what lights them up. In my book, The Homeschool Advantage, a child-focused approach to raising lifelong learners, I talk a lot about interest-led and strength-based learning. It is really a cool thing when we find what sparks our kids and help fan that spark into a big flame that gets them going and gets them excited about learning. We're going to talk today about this topic because it's so important to me. It matters really, truly, deeply to how our kids are going to become the adults they're meant to be. When we teach our neurodivergent kids, especially, how to embrace their unique selves and lean into their passions without shame, without fear, without pressure to be someone they're not, magic happens. They surprise us, they get us excited, and so filled with pride for who they're meant to be. Because everyone's here for a reason, a purpose. Everybody's got gifts that they can give to the world, and we want our kids to find theirs. Have you ever watched your kiddo light up, your little ones, maybe when they talk about dinosaurs, or when your kid talks about coding or bugs or musical theater or how to redesign Minecraft villages, and then felt frustrated because sometimes the world outside dims that light a little bit? You're absolutely in the right place, because I want to talk about how we can keep that light lit. And the truth is, not everybody is going to understand where your kiddo is coming from. Not everybody is going to want to hear about what they're super excited about all the time. But if we help them see that we value it and that there is a place for it, they'll be more confident and more likely to really lean into it and, again, find their true passions and their true directions. A few years ago, I was working with a mom, and she told me a story. I'm going to tell you about it in a second. Totally reminded me of my oldest when he was itty bitty, because he was just like this. She said that her son was obsessed with trains. She said he knows the gauge, the model, the year of every locomotive. It's like he lives and breathes it. And my oldest was like this too. In fact, his first words were not mommy or daddy or anything like that. His first word was chugga chugga. And that's what he called trains for a very long time. And one of his favorite pastimes when he was a toddler and then a preschooler and then an early elementary school kid was going in the car with a snack or a picnic and sitting by the railroad tracks in the hopes that a train would come by, and then pop his head out of the sunroof to see the train as it went by. This mom went on to say to me that she loved that he was so interested and that he had such excitement over this topic and that he could bond with older relatives about it. but that she wished he'd be more well-rounded. She went on to say that she wished he wasn't so focused and hyper-focused and hyper-fixated on this one thing. But here's the thing, that focus, that intensity, that's not like a bug, like a computer bug or something. That's a feature. That's something to celebrate, that our kids can get that excited about something, because they're not like broken jigsaw puzzles missing pieces, right? They're full, they're complete, they are who they're meant to be based on all of those rare and unique and interesting facets all fitting together to make them the people that they are. The trick is to help them see that, especially when the world around them, including sometimes us, as we doubt our parenting. We talked in the last episode about that guilt and that doubt that we sometimes feel as parents, that our kids are who they're meant to be and we are the perfect parents for them. So we want to help them see that they are special and their passions are valid, and that interest and intensity and hyperfocus is good, especially when someone around them whispers or shouts that they're too much or that they're not enough. We know how that feels as parents, right? That we're too much or we're not enough. It's hard to find that balance, and we want to help our kids find that balance too. When our neurodivergent kids are allowed to fully become themselves, quirks, gifts, struggles, special interests and all, they become resilient. And let's face it, we want our kids to be resilient. We want them to be able to handle whatever comes their way with grace and confidence and dusting themselves off and moving forward. The byproduct of that is that confidence to go ahead and tackle whatever comes their way. They start to trust that who they already are is enough. And so we want to foster that in our kids. And I'm not going to pretend that it's easy. I'm not going to pretend that it's all sunshine and roses. There are real roadblocks that we face as homeschooling parents of differently wired kids. There are so many struggles they're going to face as they get older. There are so many struggles that they're going to face as they get older because they don't see the world in the same way. That's the whole thing about neurodivergent brains. They will be comparing themselves, whether it's to their neurotypical siblings, to a curriculum checklist, or a neighbor whose 4-year-old speaks 3 languages. We'll do this too, right? We'll naturally compare our kids and worry that, again, we're not doing enough or they're not doing enough. We'll internalize the shoulds. How many of you do this? They should be doing this and they should be doing that and they should be able to do this. We've unknowingly picked up how kids are supposed to behave, learn, or show interest. And it's just not the case. Everybody learns and does and grows and achieves at different paces. And all of those different paces are valid and okay. Yes, we want to notice when there's a struggle so we can step in and help them and build up their strengths so that they're confident to attack their struggles. But we don't want to make it about this person is achieving this now, so you should be achieving it too. There's also that fear of failure that we struggle with, right? If I let him follow his passions now, what if they can't function in the real world later? If I always give in and let them do the things that they're good at or they want to do, will I be setting them up for failure because they won't be able to do things when the going gets tough? Here's the thing. I really want to gently challenge that last one. The real world isn't one size fits all. If anything, the world needs more outside the box thinkers, more sensory aware problem solvers, and more kids who know how to follow their joy and then pivot when things don't work. The thing is, when our kids are deep diving into their interests and their passions, the challenges are going to come a little bit easier. Or if they don't come a little bit easier, they're at least going to be confident enough to try, because in the rest of their life, they are doing the things that light them up. They're doing the things that they're good at. They're doing the things that make them happy and bring them joy. And that builds resilience and confidence. And so when we let them lean in, we are not creating someone who can't function later. We are creating someone who knows their value, knows they're valued, and they have a place, and that they can learn whatever they need to learn to help them in the areas of their weakness, because they're already so strong in so many areas. Here's the other thing. Like I said before, the real world isn't cookie cutter. It's not one size fits all. And it'd be a really boring place if all of us were good at the same things. And so we want our kids to explore the things they're good at, just like we do as adults. I am an adult who has leaned into my strengths. I did not enjoy math and science, like the physical science. I enjoyed life science, but math and physical science, I did not enjoy. Chemistry, that kind of stuff, I did not enjoy when I was young.
Hey there. Okay, you've heard me talk about CTC math for a long time, and I've been sharing testimonials from other people about it, but I want to share my own right now because it's been a while since I've talked about how we're using CTC math. CTC is an amazing sponsor. They support our work here at the podcast. They actually sponsor a lot of different homeschool businesses and magazines and events because they're so committed to making sure that the homeschool resources you have at your fingertips are available to you, that you have access to what you need when you need it. I love CTC Math for that part of who they are, but I also love CTC Math as a customer. I have been a paying customer for years and years. My kids are using it in very different ways, and this is what I want to talk about. I've talked before about its adaptability, but let's talk about this. I'm 16 years into homeschooling. This is my 16th year, and our kids are using it very differently. I've got one kiddo who's very advanced in math. That kiddo is a grade level and a half ahead, and I have their level set to mastery at 90%, meaning they have to get 90% or above to move on to the next set of math problems because that child doesn't have to speed through it. They're already a year and a half ahead. And so I want them, if they're going to continue to accelerate, I want them to accelerate with deep understanding. My other kiddo who's currently using it is right on grade level, maybe a couple lessons behind. And so that kiddo's mastery is set at 80% because I don't need that kiddo to understand every single section and get every single problem right. I need that kiddo to understand the big picture of the concepts, get at least a B's level of work done so that they can move on to the next level, because that particular kiddo is probably not going into a mathy career, but they need the basic understanding. CTC allows the flexibility to do that. If you've got a kiddo, say in late elementary school, who is absolutely brilliant in math and can skip ahead to some high school level math, your subscription includes all the way up to calculus. You don't have to wait. You don't have to buy multiple levels of programs. If you've got a kiddo who you hit a snag and you realize, oh my gosh, we missed that section when we were learning third grade math and now we've got to go back to do it. You don't have to go out and buy a third grade math workbook. You just go to the section in the third grade math program level and have your kiddo do that. How flexible is that? You have every level from kindergarten all the way to calculus at your fingertips for a very affordable price. Check out ctcmath.com. If you go over to the show notes and you click on the link, it will give you whatever the current discount or special they're offering Raising Lifelong Learners listeners, and you can check that out and take advantage of that. I so appreciate CTC. I know you're going to love it, and if you don't, they have a money-back guarantee, so you really do have nothing to lose. If you have any questions about CTC, you can always reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer those questions. All right, let's get back to today's episode.
I did not choose to go into a career in an area that I wasn't strong and didn't enjoy. I love speaking. I love teaching. I love writing. And I leaned into those passions, those interests, and those strengths. And I help people using those strengths. It brings me joy. It lights me up. Most of us go into a job that is suited towards the things we're passionate about and we're good at when we're adults. Why wouldn't we encourage our kids to do the same thing? Sure, we want them to be able to manage their money when it comes in. We want them to be able to negotiate a mortgage and understand interest rates. And if it's not their strongest area, is not my strongest area. I've never calculated anything to do with my tax return without a calculator in hand. I have never processed my own tax return. I've always either used an accountant or Quicken or QuickBooks or something like that because I'm not going to be super successful doing that. I know that. It's okay that I am not as strong in math as I am in understanding neurodivergent brains work. and how parents can meet the needs of their neurodivergent kids and how we can meet the needs individually of our kids in an educational setting. It's okay that I'm not as good at one as I am at the other. And I naturally flowed towards the areas where I'm passionate and where I'm good. And your kids should too. So teach them the things that they need to know to be successful as a human being contributing to society, but then really let them lean into their passions and their interests. So let's talk about real life ideas for this. Here are some ways that you can help your kiddos celebrate who they are and dive deeper into what lights them up. We can mirror and celebrate their strengths. Point out their patterns. Wow, you always notice the tiny details. That is such a gift. My youngest is so good at finding things, and he's decided that this is a badge of honor. And so he'll hear that somebody's missing something, and he'll be like, I found those AirPods a couple months ago under the garage steps. Do you remember? Let me go see if I can find it. And the truth is, he finds things more often than he doesn't because he believes and he notices. My oldest, very algorithmic thinker. He's very good at the minute details, which is why he's a good video and audio editor. And when he was young, he could go into a field of green and he would find a handful of 4-leaf clovers without fail because his brain instinctively noticed the anomaly in the patch of clover and not that they all looked the same. The 1 or 2 or 4 with 4 leaves jumped out at him. So it was hard for him not to see it. That's super cool. Point that out. Maybe be tangible. If your family hasn't done something like this in a while, make it a thing. Create a strengths wall. Put a pile of sticky notes there. And every time you notice something that your kid's doing that's cool or that's exciting or that they're interested in, and encourage them to do the same for each other and for themselves, write it down, draw it, and stick it on the wall and comment on it. Talk about the things your kids are good at, because then your other kids will start noticing what each other's good at. Build your passions into your homeschool. Build passions into your homeschool. Passion-based unit studies. If you have a kiddo obsessed with marine animals, turn it into science, geography, writing, and art. Let them teach you or their siblings. Bring them as experts and allow that to boost their confidence. Or use curiosity hours, a weekly block of time that's unstructured where they can explore anything that they want. Over on the website, we have a shop that has a bunch of different unit studies. And as I'm recording this, we're in the process of reorganizing the shop so it's organized by categories and you can find things more easily. Right now, it's not live yet, the newly reorganized site, and I'm hoping it is by the time this episode comes out. But if you are interested in small bite-sized unit studies for your kids, we have unit study guides on the site for a couple bucks, and they give you like an outline of things to do related to a topic to make it easy for you to just plan and pull materials or have the right kinds of searches. And then there's a planning sheet. And we have dozens and dozens. I think we're up to 40 something right now. So even if it's not organized in categories yet, you can still just scroll and find something that your kids are interested in. But that's a really good way to spark their curiosity and build passions into your homeschool. Connect them with like-minded communities, local clubs, virtual classes, or even safe online communities where their interests are seen and heard. Right now in the Learners Lab, once a month, we have a doodle club where I'm just drawing with the kids for a half an hour and we're chit-chatting about what I'm drawing and they're showing me their drawings and stuff. There's a Lego club once a month that's an hour. And we have a guest teacher for that. Miss Janae gives the kids a theme, gives them mini builds, chats with them, and they build and they share. We're working to add more clubs as we go and as we have the budget to add more facilitators that are safe for kids. And we also have Miss Marielle, who is a wonderful, amazing teacher of neurodivergent kids and mom of a neurodivergent kid who lives in California, does twice monthly tween meetups and teen meetups. And during those hours or 45 minutes, twice a month, she does like virtual escape rooms and games and conversation starters and breakout rooms with the kids. It's just a chance for the tweens and then the teens to meet and chat informally. And sometimes there's a bunch, sometimes there's a couple kids. That's a lot of fun. And then we do other things where I teach the kids social and emotional skills and creative thinking skills. And then we have activities for parents too, because parents need those like-minded communities to help them spark ideas. So that's one of the ways, a safe way you can find communities and like-minded people. But if social anxiety is a barrier, start with one-on-one meetups or co-learning with a trusted friend. We have found over the last couple of years that we've really craved more and more interaction, and especially now that the oldest one is homeless and the second oldest is going to be going off to college. My younger two and I decided that next year we wanted to join a co-op again. We haven't been a part of a co-op since before 2020. But we need the consistency of hanging out with the same people. And we toured a co-op today as I'm recording this, and really are optimistic about next year based on the people that we met and talked to. Find a place that you can to connect with like-minded communities. Help your kiddos learn the language of self-awareness. This is why we work on social and emotional skills in the Learner's Lab, but you want to use books, visuals, or role-playing to help your kiddos articulate what makes them tick. Practice phrases like, I learn best when, or I'm really interested in, or I'm super passionate about. Normalize their neurodivergence, normalize their brain wiring, normalize their interests. Talk openly about brain wiring in your family and why there's no need to fix. This is who we are, and we need to appreciate who we are for the unique person that we're meant to be. So let go of that need to fix. Accept their passions as valuable, even if you don't understand them. And believe me, there are some things my kids have gotten into that I just don't get. Support them. Support stimming and scripting and pacing or repetition as the regulation it is, and as joy, not as problems. Sometimes if you're out and about and it's causing a disruption to somebody else, say you're at a play and there's like verbal stimming and it's interrupting another paying patron, you might want to take a walk or go towards the back where you're not going to disturb anybody else so that your child can be free to be who they're meant to be. Because we want to make sure that we're teaching our kids about their own needs as well as the needs of others, because it's important to be empathetic and to expect empathy. So what does this look like over time? How can we create an environment, when we create an environment where our kids feel safe being themselves, what do we notice? Here's what starts to happen. In your home and in your homeschool, they start to take more healthy risks because they trust themselves. They trust that inner compass, that guide to tell them what they're doing and what they're meant to do. They also recover faster from failure because their worth isn't tied to perfection. Now, for some of our hardcore perfectionists, this might be a harder thing to overcome and take more time than it is for some others, but that's okay. We're building these skills and we're improving as we go. They might begin to self-advocate, using their words and actions to express what they need. I remember Logan being in my now 15-year-old a handful of years ago, being at a play rehearsal and not being able to keep up with the speed at which they wanted to run through the script. And she stopped and she said, I can do this. I don't need help, but I just need another minute to process it. I have dyslexia and I'm tripping over my words. Can I just have another minute? And the director was impressed with her advocacy and gave her another minute. When they begin to self-advocate, they start to feel comfortable in their own skin and more confident. They also grow into teens and young adults who aren't just doing okay. They're thriving, and they're thriving as themselves. And hey, this doesn't always mean that things are smooth. Your sensory-seeking, emotionally intense, deeply curious kiddo might still melt down over math or refuse to write a single paragraph. But they'll know that they're seen. They'll know that they're valued. They'll know that they're loved exactly as they are and for who they are. Okay, here's what I want you to do this week. This is like my call to action and my encouragement for you. As you go about your week, I want you to remember this. You are building something beautiful. You're planting the seeds of confidence, self-trust, and joy in your kiddo. You're showing them that they can be their full, quirky, magical selves and still find their place and still belong. It's not about forcing balance. It's about embracing their spark and helping them carry it into adulthood. So this week, I challenge you to find something. Find one of those sparks and either ask your kid about it, ask them to teach you about it, or Find something that you can do together that's related to it, and be sparked and lit up together. You've got this. You're already the perfect parent for your kids, so you're fully equipped to do this. And you love your kiddo. You love them so much. Their intensity, their drive, their passions, their interests, it's what makes them. And you love them for who they are. So you're already winning at this. Don't forget that. You're doing a great job, and your kids are amazing. If you know somebody who needs to hear that, share this episode with them, or go over and leave a rating or review. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, you can go over to the show notes for this episode, find the links to CTC Math, our sponsor. We're so grateful for them. You can find links to all the different resources that we've talked about on this episode and additional resources as well. And I'd encourage you to keep noticing the wonder, nurturing your kiddos' passions, and embracing the beautiful chaos that homeschooling is, especially homeschooling neurodivergent kiddos. You got this. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.